Hi, everyone. I wanted to create a quick video for you to kind of go over some of the specifics with Adobe Spark. And I'm hoping that this will help you as you navigate to make your iterations on your current designs if you use Spark or you decide to kind of navigate over here to Spark. So you've all set up accounts and I'm showing you kind of what I've designed here. I'm going to show you how I got to this point. So I'm going to go to Spark, and when I open up and I'm in the home screen right here, my cursor's kind of over that, I'm going to select which template I want. For this particular design, I'm aiming for number 2 for deliverable 2. So I'm going to choose actually the square format, and it will load up here in a minute. Then you'll notice that I have a bunch of options on the left side of my screen. I can choose a template, I can choose text, photos, icons, and all these other things. So I'm going to get to those in order. So first, I'm going to start with a template that just allows me to start putting content where I want it to go. And for the purpose of this, I usually choose a template that kind of draws my eye in. But I often alter it pretty considerably. So it doesn't really matter which template I select. So I'm going to go down and you can do a search if you want. I might do a little search for identity, see what comes up in terms of templates based on that keyword search. And I'm going to start with this one. So I'll click it, create from the template, and then I'm going to close the window for the flyout window here for templates. So I have a little more screen real estate to see what I'm doing. I kind of know right off the bat, some of these things I don't want. So I'm just going to click it and then hit delete on my keyboard to get rid of those materials. I'm going to start here. And right now it's just a fill color. So I'm going to click off it and I'm clicking on it and I can tell I'm on it because this is highlighted. And in this case, I'm going to now choose an image to fill into that particular spot. And I'm going to go over to my backgrounds, and then I'm actually selecting a trending background, which is this fruit. I'm going to click that and place it there. I can do one of two things. I am going to expand this to make it the size of my box, kind of position it the way I like it. And then I'm going to go over here. You'll notice that there's this like little pop out option that will allow you to layer your orders just like Illustrator will. And I'm going to put this all the way to the bottom. Okay, great. Step 1. I'm actually going to get rid of this guy and this graphic. And now I am going to put something on top of this so that I can get my text going, my quote. So I'm going to go back to that bar on the left-hand side. I'm going to close this window so I have a little more space here. And I'm going to go over to my option that says Design Assets. I'll click on that, and then I can do a search. And like I just did a simple search for like rectangle and had some good results. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go down and look at these different elements. Let's see what I've got. So under the elements for rectangle, my keyword search, I see this kind of quote box and I thought it was kind of nice. So I'm going to use a slightly different one than I did before. I'm going to click it and it should place it. And then you all know that you can just grab this corner and expand it. Unlike in Illustrator, this will expand proportionally, which is really nice. And I'll sort of position this as I see fit. Once I'm going to close this window so we can have a little more room. Once I've put my asset into this template, then on the right, I can go over and change it a little bit if I see fit. I can change the opacity, so I can have it be lower opacity, which makes it more transparent, or 100% opacity, which makes it opaque. I can also, under these different options here for filter enhancement, start to change how it looks. So I can grayscale it, I can darken it, I can make it more contrasty or matte looking, lighten it, kind of like the lighten version. So I think I'm going to go with that. There's also colorize and multiply as an option. So I'm going to select that. There's also enhancements in terms of making it more contrasty or less contrasty that you can kind of play with, or the brightness, saturation. This is a very visual sort of process, so I encourage you to play for this part and get the look that you want. Once you've gotten that sort of settled, then you can go ahead and add your text. So I'm going to click on the text tool. I'm going back to my left bar. And okay, I'm going to go ahead and add text now to this design. So I'm going to go over to the text tool, click on it, and then I get all these different text templates. I'm going to make it my own. So I'm really going to choose one that's pretty generic. I'm going to click on everything will be okay. I'm going to move this up here. I don't like this font, but I'm going to choose a font that I think is better. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my, my quote. Okay, I'm going to double check that my quote is correct. And it is, and I'm going to add the quotes in just a second. So I'm not putting those in the body of the text. I'm going to use those as a stylized feature. So you'll notice that this is expanded beyond the scope of what will fit in my design. So I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I'm just grabbing kind of the corner of the text box. I'm going to expand it out to make it wider. I can use these little guides here on the side too for that. And then I'm going to select a different font. So I'm going to come over here and start to look at some options. And I tested out before and I kind of like this Local Brewery 4. I'm going to kind of test this out a little bit and make it smaller. I might go with 65 as a point size and drag this out here and drag this down so it's not so tight. Just kind of working it up. And I might even want to come in here and change my font slightly. I might want to try like a Lato. Something might be a tiny bit easier to read. When I hit on that font, there's many options. So I'm going to do it just a regular. Let's see if that's more light. That might be too hard to see with the texture. Let's see, I might try this Montserrat. I'm just playing a little bit. I'm trying to get a sense of like the line, the shape, and the size of some of the figures in the back, and trying to have a font that will have a unique identity to it. So I do want to be honest and say like the part of this is a little bit of a testing process. So you've got your text and you're going to have to kind of just play a little bit with the fonts, but fortunately it's very easy to do this. So I'm going to kind of do that. And I'm going to look at the spacing, and the line spacing, it feels really tight. So I'm going to open that up a little bit. So I'm in my text box and there's this little option for spacing. That feels a little bit better breathing wise between that. I'm going to make it a little bit more, have more breathing room between the letters. All right, this is starting to look better. So then I'm going to click on my text, and down below you'll see there's option for shape. I'm going to click on shape, and it's going to default to like a filled text. I'm not going to keep that. I'm going to click on this little option next to the shape, which gives me all these like different templates for how the text can look. And there's one that I really like that has quote marks. So I'm going to use this quote mark to kind of help make it clear that it is a quote. And then I'm going to play a little bit with the sizing. So I'm going to go back to my letter spacing a little bit and just make that a little tighter, and the line spacing just a little bit. I'm probably going to futz with this just so it fits better within that design. Make it a little smaller. I might want to play with this too, make this a little bit bigger. And then make this a little bit bigger. So I'm just I'm playing with these things. I'm clicking on different assets and then, increasing and decreasing the size as needed. Once I get to a point where I'm happy with it, this is good. I would also need to add another little band here to say that this is from an anonymous logo UNM student, but this is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go over to my download. And I just want you to be sure to download the JPEG version, and that's what you'll put into the Google Slides presentation. And then I also want you to download the PDF, which you'll put in that root folder for the Google Drive folder. Okay, so that'll be that. I just kind of want you to get more familiarized with like where you can get these assets and materials. So again, these toolbars are very useful. The design assets are awesome, and doing a keyword search for produce or for fruit or for rectangle or even just a shape that you want might make the process like go faster and be pretty fun to kind of pick out. So I hope this is helpful.